there's a lot of things which are consonant with the Jewish people. The Jewish people also were people who created prophets and teachers who in some way showed how you can live in an imperfect society. I mean, I love the rabbis of the Talmud when they teach us how to build decency in an imperfect world, where they teach us that we don't have to have it all in order to be able to do something. There's a beautiful midrash which says, why does God show favoritism to Israel? So they says, God answers, the angels ask God, you're not supposed to show favoritism. You know, it's not just. He says, how can I not be in love with Israel? I wrote in the Bible, you should eat and be satisfied and bless the Lord. So in other words, I only require that they say grace after they've eaten a full meal. And they are willing to say grace after eating a kazayit or kibetza, even eating food, a small meal. So I said, what does that mean? A person who can say grace when he's still hungry is what the rabbis taught us. Now, I argued once with Hanan Parat, if I don't have all the land, I have nothing. I said, Rabbinic Judaism taught us.
Parat is from the National Resistance Party?
Yeah. I said to him, Rabbinic Judaism taught us to say grace even if you're hungry. In other words, if you eat a little bit, it's also to feel it's important.
So what did he say?
So I mean, what do you say?
What was his answer?
His answer is, how can I give back any part of the land? It's like cutting God's body. So what am I going to say if someone sees the land as God's body? I can't argue with that.
Is it their theory, I mean, these people, that you should sacrifice human life to keep this land?
No, they also agree with the sacredness of human life, but they feel that the land was meant historically and theologically to be under the sovereignty of God's elect people. And therefore to give up the land is to violate the intimate covenant between God and Israel.
And do you think that it's theological to keep land?
I think it's theologically mistaken, because I think what God wants on this land is not that Jews should have sovereignty, but to build a just society. And therefore what we do with people is what God is interested, not that we show political sovereignty. That I control the map doesn't mean anything. It's what do I do on the streets of Tel Aviv? What do I do in the hospitals? How do I treat human beings in the street? How do I create confidence among the poor? How do I create homes that people would feel that they want to sing in it? You see, that's the holiness of the land. And therefore, the violation of my intimate relationship with God is you shall be holy. That's what God wants. Be just. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdaf. Pursue justice. Love the stranger. Deal honestly with people. I mean, it's what image of God you have.
All right, so these people study the same books that you do. What brings them into this narrow conviction? I mean, that's a big problem.
Yeah, but I see the same books don't give the same message. The book is read by the eyes you bring to it.
Right.
And therefore, you can't expect that the Bible or the Torah will speak in one voice. It does never spoke in one voice. And the question is, who listens to it? There's a multiple music in the Bible. Now, you can select one thing and be deaf to other musics. No, the Bible could allow you many, many things. It could allow immoralities, it could allow viciousness, and it could allow great gentleness. That depends how you want to read this. With what eyes do you bring to this tradition? That's why I just wrote a book on the whole importance of it. A heart of many rooms. Make yourself a heart of many rooms. That's the name of the title.
Is it coming out?
It's going to come out in January from Jewish Lights in Vermont.
I know that.
It's a very important book. And why did I call it Make a Heart of Many Rooms?
Yeah.
Because there's a very beautiful story in the Talmud, in the Tosefta. A person says, how can I study Torah now? How can I study Judaism? This one says it's permitted. This one says it's not permitted. This one says I should give back land. This one says I shouldn't give back land. This one says it's kosher. This one says it's not kosher. You go on an El Al plane and they ask you, do you want real kosher or make-believe kosher? Or that? So I always say, no, I want the make-believe kosher. I want the kosher that all the Jews eat at. Because I have to have, something I don't eat. So I don't eat real kosher. So real kosher, I leave it. So this one says that you're allowed, this one says you're not allowed. What's going on? He says, how can I study Torah? There's such disagreements. This one says it's permitted, it's not permitted. So the Talmud says, make yourself a heart of many rooms and take the views of those who say that it's permitted and put it in, and those who say it's not permitted, those who say it's kosher, those who say it's treif, put it in. In other words, your heart should contain conflicting opinions. In other words, give up the notion that there's only one truth or one way to explain, one way to interpret. Develop a soul that could respect differences.